Like hair?
Trust, you say? O'Hara argued the essential prior concept for understanding trust is trustworthiness. Broadly speaking, it is the property that they will do what they say they will do. If they fail, then it will typically for some reason outside their control. As a result, trust has multiple dimensions to it. It's actively context dependent, for the reason that we understand most of the time we have to have a reason to trust someone. You wouldn't trust your mechanic with your banking, for example. Therefore, trust is an important threshold that exists before collaboration. The handshake moment where Batman and Superman start punching each other in the face and become a bromance.
Always have to be the hero, don't you?
Right back at you.
There's two versions of this moment I absolutely adore. Of course, the DCAU World's Finest version, but there's also one people rarely speak of. The version from The Batman. Unfortunately, neither features Batman smashing Superman in the head with a toilet. Batman and Superman's first alliance will obviously feature a disagreement, so both versions use the refusal of the call as their primary Act 1 stage. As Campbell Soup described, myths and folktales of the whole world make clear that the refusal is essentially a refusal to give up what one takes to be one's own interest. Subsequently, the reason for the refusal is hilariously shared by the same reason but flipped. Batman follows Joker to Metropolis.
Isn't Bruce Wayne about due for a trip to Metropolis?
Superman goes to Gotham to present a massive check.
Wait till they see him, Ms. Lane. The roof's gonna come off the building.
Fanboy.
They're guest stars in the other person's show, therefore their appearance interrupts the other status quo.
I won't have vigilantism in my town.
Furthermore, distrust manifests in the same way. They figure out each other's identity. DCAU Superman peeks under Batman's cowl as retaliation for being thrown across the room.
I didn't think you were stupid.
In The Batman, Superman does it largely unprovoked. He just doesn't like how Batman didn't immediately give him the kryptonite.
You're not very trusting.
Not when it comes to that, Mr. Wayne.
Then in both versions, Batman uses his detective visions as a counter.
Touché.
In both versions, peeking is a power move to show how they don't need the other person's help, and it's also a threat to keep the other out of their way. If distrust is complete, cooperation will fail among free agents. Furthermore, if trust exists only unilaterally, cooperation may also fail, and if it is blind, it may constitute rather an incentive to deception. However, ironically, an element of trust is made because they are now trusting each other with each other's secrets. In World's Finest, when they meet out of costumes, Clark asks if he's found the Joker, who has a ton of kryptonite, and Bruce shares his sincere frustration.
3 nights, and not so much as a green hair.
They reject change, but they're chill about it, and in being chill about it, they've become open to change. However, they wouldn't have had this interaction if Batman wasn't dating Lois.
Of course, you have been dividing your time between work and Lois.
Is that a problem?
In contrast, Clark in The Batman is a lot less cooperative. Bruce brings him the kryptonite as a gesture of trust and invites him to the Justice League, but he declines.
By the way, the Justice League's about to have its first official meeting. I heard the Martian invited you, but you declined.
As a result, both Act 2s are centered on the meeting of the goddess stage. Woman, in the picture language of mythology, represents the totality of what can be known. The hero is the one who comes to know. In World's Finest, it's the love of Lois Lane.
Don't worry. I'm taking Lois quite seriously. Besides, it seems to me you had your chance.
She's the perfect woman. Superman missed his shots, and now Bruce is jumping in.
No, Bruce. Your only competition flew away some time ago.
Perfect in the way that her strong personality complements both men's sense of service for the greater good, and her charm complements both their vibes. But the knowledge she bestows to the heroes isn't what she knows, but what they learn from each other from this competitive infatuation. The story deliberately avoids the love triangle arguments.
Let's just say I'm concerned. Your reputation is dubious, in and out of costume.
But instead uses it to bond the three of them. If Lois loves Superman, then Bruce knows he's alright, and if Lois loves Bruce, then Clark knows he's alright.
It's ironic, you know. She likes Bruce Wayne and she likes Superman. It's the other 2 guys she's not crazy about.
Too bad we can't mix and match.
This unique experience in loving the same woman deepens their understanding with each other, and thus trust deepens. In contrast, and this is gonna sound whack, in The Batman, Batman thematically is the goddess.
I prefer to work alone.
So did I, once. But I found out you never know when you might need a friend.
Notice how Batman didn't say a teammate or help, but specifically a friend. He represents not romantic love, but a sort of love Superman hasn't discovered yet. The love of friendship.
He's not much for conversation, is he?
Like you should talk.
You see that smile? That's a delightful constant. He smiles when Robin was testing his jetpack. He smiles as he arrests Black Mask. He smiles at the imprisoned Poison Ivy, and more. This version of Batman is one of my favorites, just because he's surprisingly not an asshole who attracts help but then denies his help compassion. He's instead an inviting soul who smiles. Collaboration takes place between autonomous partners who choose whether or not to participate. Therefore, it is unlikely that collaboration will develop without at least a measure of trust. Subsequently, the way to solidify the trust as something sustainable and for it to become a true partnership is for the trust to simply become something reliable. Superman gets bamboozled by Lex, who uses Ivy spores laced with kryptonite to control him. Batman immediately figures this out too, because he and Lex are like genius level dudes. And I kind of love the fact that he has no time for this bullshit. When the fight starts, he just immediately destroys the spore device. Subsequently, because he never stopped putting out his hand, this time Superman is very happy to take it.
I owe you one. Wasn't just me.
I guess teamwork does have its advantages.
In World's Finest, as Batman gets overwhelmed by Lex's spider robot, he tries to get Superman's help.
Never around when you need him.
It takes a while, but then he's eventually there. The shenanigans leads to Lois learning Bruce is Batman, so they break up, and now both men are on the same page.
I'm not used to being rescued. Thanks.
I owed you one.
Collaboration involves the investment of time and energy, as well as the sharing of resources, responsibilities, and rewards. This sharing creates a situation of interdependence that participants will be motivated to avoid unless they trust their collaborative partners. Greater collaboration then holds the possibility of fostering greater trust, as partners have experience with one another over time and have opportunities to witness the benevolence, reliability, competence, honesty, and openness of their partners. This realization that they can in fact rely on each other is what leads to them both becoming the master of the two worlds in Act 3, the freedom to pass back and forth the world division. Consequently, they take this partnership to stop the villains, in which both climaxes are f***ing insane. Lex's skyscraper-sized robot gets taken out by a single batarang, and Joker commits the greatest act of domestic terrorism. Literally hundreds of people are dead now. What the fuck? But then they beat the bad guys, and Batman leaves Metropolis with his mission completed, on good terms with Clark.
Actually, I thought we worked pretty well together.
While Superman accepts the invitation to the Justice League.
I asked you here because I wanted to give you this. The real kryptonite.
She's all yours now, if you can handle that. But you'd better be good to her.
You keep it. At least then I'll know it's with someone who's on my side.
'Cause I know where you live.
Anyway, this is our command center. Someone's always stationed here. It's time-consuming, but the view's great.
What's fun about all of this is that there's no conflict or even animosity painted around Batman being an illegal vigilante or Superman being too much of a law-abiding Boy Scout. Their differences in approach is also not even an argument. The thing they have to overcome between them are their sense of initial distrust, because they are strangers to each other working in the other person's turf. As a result, resolution and development is created by how dependable they become to each other during the circumstances.
You're learning.
In both versions, the hero's journey they're built around is about two dudes getting used to a new frontier of love, reliability, and openness. Where even if these episodes weren't about two massive iconic characters, they're interesting and charismatic tales about nuanced people who change. The basis of their trust are based on a fondness they have for each other. Batman and Superman may be icons, competing mascots for the same massive corporation, but when you put them together and they meet, they're not symbols, they're people with unique personalities, and a good story about trust can bring out the most human sides of them. So this video was a real pain in the ass to make because originally it was only about the Batman two-parter, the Superman episode, and it was about that in relations to trust. And I had made that video, I voiced it, and I pretty much edited it, and I realized I didn't really have enough to talk about. So then I went back to the drawing board, and then I thought it wouldn't be a really good idea to bring in World's Finest. And then if I use the monomyth again as a main comparative structure, there might be some kind of interesting results that would come out of it. And then I made it, pretty happy with it, except there wasn't much of a conclusion, so I had to put the video down, and I did the Superman and Lois and Tim Drake video, came back to this one, and then suddenly everything kind of clicked, and I knew what I had to say, and I made some adjustments, and here's the final version. I'm pretty happy with this video. I'm quite surprised. Anyways, I'm currently working on The Boys Season 4 video, so that's pretty good, and also My Adventures with Superman Season 2.